I don't think we're doing any like looking through the drivers in terms of the whatchamacallit in qualifying. Don't think he's had time to do that graphics. But yeah, I shall.
We're still going through the new driver lineup, aren't we?
Yeah, we're still going to go through the driver lineup. Oh my god, Sway's just sent the invites out. Goodness me. We're efficient tonight here in Division 2. I'll send you the invite as well.
I already... Sway sent me
Oh, you've already got
well.
one. That sorts us out. And then... Yeah, we've got a couple of new drivers, I think. I've seen them from Division 3. They're quite competitive, actually.
Vola
Volakongan, yeah. Volakongan was reserve in Division 5, I think, at one point last season, if I'm not mistaken. And he was really above and beyond how he performed. I think he got moved up to D3 for most part of the season.
We got Dan. We got Dan in here and Ryan now as well.
Dan? Who's Dan?
Yeah, it's Rudema. XL Dan.
Zadema. I think that's how you pronounce it in Dutch terms. So I've learnt that. Yeah, not Zwiedema as I like to say in commentary. Zwiedema.
I always like really like pronounce the U. I go Zudema. Zudema. He'll tell me if I'm wrong anyways. He hasn't said anything about it in the meantime. We should have a full grid tonight as well. I'll be really interested to see how Mashiro gets on in Division 2. She was looking fine in D3
who won
that time when I commentated there for him.
Yeah, who won Division 3 last season?
I think it was it AMG?
Let me have a look. Honours list. It was... Yeah, F1 AMG. Took drivers and constructors. And Yanni was second. Oh no, Yanni got the constructors, I should say. It wasn't second. Second in the standings in Division 3 last season was a tie, actually, I think, between Mashiro and Giannis, and both of them are here tonight in Division 2.
Yeah, who's in the other Ferrari? 'Cause it says vacant.
Vacant seat at the minute. I think it was due to be Spreen, Dan Spreen, but he's left. Because he couldn't do Thursdays, and the admins might have had a bit of a hissy fit about it, but yeah, it's one of those things, I think. I need to send the link out to Tom. Just totally forgot about him, unless he's found me already. Let me have a gander. I don't want English muffins.
What did you think of the border situation?
The border situation? Oh, I don't really mind, to be honest.
With what Westminster think of it.
What do Westminster think of it? I don't know. It's a shame, I think, more for those people who are going to go on holiday in Wales than anything else.
Oh, the thing is, we're in a 17-day lockdown now.
Exactly. We are still Tier 2. We're hanging on for grim life, currently in Tier 2. Let me just send the link through to Tom, and that's that.
I will say, I think it is irresponsible of Westminster to kind of use this border thing to kind of beat the Welsh government, and that. Down to the end of the day, if you look at where all the COVID cases are, it's on the border. It's all on the border. Like that seems to be the hotspots.
Yeah.
The tourist attractions and on the border.
It's the same, to be honest, in terms of like regional or city borders as well. Because up here in Sunderland, we've got, I think the 7-day average was like 6,000 cases. I think over just over 1,000 over 7-day rolling average, which is higher than normal. But in County Durham, it's nearly 3,000 cases, which is mad.
Yeah, let me send you what this idiot Jacob Rees-Mogg said.
Oh, honestly, I've probably seen it already because I watch the Commons way too much. Maybe too much. Maybe too much compared to real life F1.
Oscar is where you went. What do you expect from a hard left Labour government?
Yeah. I mean, Andy Burnham in Liverpool or Manchester, I think it was. They're just throwing an absolute hissy fit. I'm just like, why are you not working together? It's ridiculous. Honestly, party politics before the public. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't care about us. They want to see tens of thousands of deaths, which will be in England this year, until Christmas.
I mean, they say, they keep saying the union must be protected at all costs.
The union's dead.
Shouldn't be more important than people's lives.
Yeah. And then we've got Brexit at the end of the year, which is going to make things a hell of a lot better. Good evening, Tom, by the way, if you are tuning into my stream. We're just having a bit of a political debate at the minute.
Just a bit of a back and forth.
But we're ready to go. We're raring to go. It's the season opener. It's Bahrain. I've got everything at the ready. Hopefully Tom's got everything ready as well. I think we've got the replay cams back as well. I think he tested them out on Tuesday and they were fine. So that is all fine and dandy. And I'm just trying to find the link to the stream. And yeah, the proper stream is up. And somebody's put in the stream. Merple's put in the stream. Play K391. This is Felicitas for your Norwegian friends. There we go. That's what he might have to do next week. There's a song title. I thought, honestly, it was a random, bot comment at first, but no. Oh, Tianis has just joined. We've got 15 currently in the lobby, which is not too bad.
Not bad at all.
If you're finding this channel for the first time, give it a subscription. If you're wanting to watch the proper action, though, go to League Racing TV on YouTube and tune into the action on that, because this is where it will be getting streamed too. And yeah, this is my first lead commentary for the season in my new role as head commentator as well. Hey, it's fantastic. Cannot wait. It's nerve-wracking, but I cannot wait.
This is the start of my first official season.
This is the start of your first official season, yeah, because Paco left me in the lurch halfway through the season.
Months, wasn't it?
Yeah. But we are good to go. Tom has just given us the go-ahead. So, with all that being said, good luck to everyone. Remember, it is 65 seconds, not the 10 seconds I like to say. But with that being said, good luck, Tom, on the graphics end. 10 seconds. Good evening everyone and welcome to TTML Division 2. We are here tonight for the Season 2 opener at the Sakhir International Circuit for the Bahrain Grand Prix. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as your lead commentator and indeed TTML head commentator this season. Privileged to say that, I've got to be honest. And joining me in the commentary box, as always, you might have seen him last season. If you're not familiar with him, I'm sure he'll introduce himself. It is Mr. Michael Edwards. Mike, how you doing?
I am looking forward to a exciting new season. Everything reset to 0. We go again. It's on.
It is on indeed, and as you say, we start from scratch tonight. Points available across the board. M Short took the win, of course, in Division 1, but let us have a look through our new and tasty drivers lineup with 19 confirmed drivers, 1 vacant seat in the Ferrari. Scuderia Seb and AJ team up in the Mercedes. F1 AMG, reigning Division 3 champion, moves up into Division 2. He is in the Ferrari. Sway and TTG Cowboy are in the Red Bull. In the McLaren, it is Matt Tibos and Mashiro. In the Racing Point, Adamaco and Alonso. In the Alfa Romeo, the first of 2 all-XL pairings with XL J. Cole and XL Zwerdemmer. In the Renault, it is XL Gary and XL Ryan, the other 2, the XL drivers within the league. They team up in the Renault. Bolakongan and Trippy Jeff are teaming up in the Haas. Trippy Jeff literally signing up last minute, getting that Haas seat here today. AlphaTauri, represented by Powdy and TRT James, an all-Irish team for the AlphaTauris. And Tionis, runner-up, along with Mashiro in Division 3 last season. Him and Nathan team up in the Williams. And looking at that driver lineup, I've got to be honest and say that Constructors, on paper, looks one of the most competitive grids I think I've seen in Division 2.
Yeah, the Constructors is going to be incredibly tight. A lot of great drivers out here in D2. And of course, you know, the drivers also is going to be very interesting to see who's going to be able to take this season by the scruff and really hit the ground running here today.
Yeah, it is going to be fascinating. I think we are here, of course, in Bahrain. We'll have a look at the track map in question. But, of course, we are here in Sakia, and it's going to be a fascinating race. And hopefully, what I'm going to try and do is get the point system up for you now, guys. And I haven't got the graphic for this, so Tom's probably got it up before me in terms of that. So I will just get the point system. It's an alternate point system, of course. First gets 30 points, second on 25, third on 20 points. All places down to 19th pay for points. It is so important, I think, for these drivers to stay within the race out on track so they can pick up points. Even if it's a scrap 1 point for 19th, they are still picking up points. There are also additional points available for pole position and indeed for the fastest lap across the whole of the grid. And coming into qualifying, and we'll focus on this in just a minute, it looks quite competitive, I've got to say, in terms of the driver lineup. Who on paper do you think will make themselves known as an early contender tonight?
Well, I think we have to look at XL Gary, who really was performing fantastically, but he missed the final 2 rounds of last season, so he didn't manage to seal 4th place off. I believe that went to his then teammate and now XL rival in J. Cole. But yeah, keep an eye on Gary, I reckon.
Keep an eye on Gary, and Gary is here. He's probably tuning into the stream as well. So now, that being said, Gary has now got to perform for my co-commentator here. Hopefully he doesn't do his traditional act of bottling out on track, and hopefully that's not a word we're going to be using too much here in Division 2 this season. Just had word, by the way, through on the Division 2 chat. We are delaying the race start by 5 minutes, which gives me and Mike a little bit more time to ramble on and show you some of the graphics that we're going to be having. This delay is due to AJ. His update is copying. It's on 25%. That was 5 minutes ago. So hopefully he'll be ready. J. Cole is not here either just yet. He is in a party with the XL boys, apparently. He hasn't arrived just yet. So we're waiting on him. But we are going to have a full grid out on track tonight. And a full grid for the first round of the season. Of the 19 drivers that we have, it's going to be quite extraordinary, I think.
Yeah, especially at a track like Shakia. And this is going to be a very tight race. We saw how tight it was in Division 1 on Tuesday, where it was literally decided by penalties. This is going to be incredibly exciting. A lot of overtaking opportunities, a lot of potential strategies that could crop up, a lot of potential safety cars as well, with a couple of these corners being incredibly tricky on terms of traction and just the nature of the turn 9 and 10 corners.
Yeah, let's have a look at the track map then in question. We'll get that graphic up for you now. 18 minutes of qualifying, 29 laps, I should say, of the race. Dynamic weather, of course. It is the Sakhir International Circuit, also known as the Bahrain International Circuit. First race held here in 2004, where one Michael Schumacher took the first win in Bahrain in the Duel of the Desert as well in 2014. We had Hamilton and Rosberg. Very fond memories of that. Lap distance of around 5.4 kilometres in length, with 156.9 kilometres race distance out on track. 15 turns, as I say, and those 3 DRS zones. Going to promote overtaking out on track. One down the start-finish straight down towards turn 1, one down towards turn 4, and one also down towards turn 11. That's down the back straight, as I like to call it here. And with those 3 DRS zones, surely we're going to see, hopefully, quite a lot of overtaking. But we saw in Division 1, it's quite difficult to make an overtake around here when you're in a pesky DRS train.
Yes, we saw in D1, there really was single file for a good amount of it, just waiting for someone to make a move, make a little bit of a lunge, or make a mistake, and it's gonna come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes, who can get the runs out of the final 2 corners, and turns 1, 2 and 3, and of course out of turn 10, which, as I said, was a very tricky corner for those who are using no ABS, and who could stay away from that curb at turn 12?
They have to stay away from that curb at turn 12. I think I've commentated around here quite a number of times. I cannot count back how many commentaries I've done around Bahrain. And in every single race, it seems that I see somebody spinning coming through turn 12, which I hope is not the case here tonight. We didn't really see it in Division 1 on Tuesday. Just for the benefit of everyone viewing as well, Medium Pilot in qualifying on Division 1 on Tuesday, he set a 1:24.1 as his lap time. So that is the lap time that these guys have really got to try and match, I think. But what are we going to see in terms of lap time for qualifying? We were talking about this just before we came live. I said a 24.4. I'm thinking about 3-4 tenths off normally in terms of Division 1 to Division 2 pace.
I have to agree. I believe in the mid 24s where we should be seeing the pole time, but anything can happen. They could absolutely shock us and just absolutely match the D1 times, which would really throw a spanner in the works for the admins.
It would really throw a spanner in the works for the admins. Of course, if you are wanting to view as well Division 3 is also live here tonight. Aiden Carter, bless him, is by himself. Go and show him some love in that Division 3 stream. I'm sure it's up there right now. We have reached 650 subscribers, I've noticed as well, on the channel. So thank you very much to everyone for subscribing to League Racing TV. Knowing now that I've said that, we'll probably go back down to 649. But we are just a couple of minutes away from the action. AJ's game is copying, literally as I say that. He's just joined in on the lobby. J. Cole has gone missing in action, apparently, as well. So just to give you a bit of an update on that. Zwadema's comments before the race was that his teammate has already bottled before he even comes into the race, which is quite unfair, I think, on his teammate, to be honest. But it looks as if we're going to be getting going. We are beginning to ready up out on track. Just a final word then from you, Mike. What is your top 3 for qualifying?
Gary, I think we'll see AJ up there as well, and Matt Tibos.
Interesting. You're going a lot with Gary tonight, I've noticed. Does that mean something? We will wait and see. The session countdown has just started. We've got about 10 seconds until we do go live. And of course, you will see a very fancy introduction as performed by myself. And I'm going to get that up now on my end. So good luck to everyone out on track tonight. I'm sure all of you guys are going to be tuning in. Show your support for all of the drivers here out on track tonight under the night lights here in Bahrain. And what a track we have for the season opener for Season 2, Round 1 of TTML. It is about time that we get underway, and let's get into qualifying. Well, good evening everyone, and welcome along to TTML Division 2. We are here for the Round 1 opener. It is at the Zakia International Circuit for Season 2 of TTML. We are here tonight under the bright night lights. 2014, Rosberg, Hamilton. 2004, Michael Schumacher taking the inaugural win out on track. My name is James Head, your head commentator in TTML. Joining me in the commentary box, of course, is Mike Edwards, and Mike we will come to in just a second. But let's have a look at the track in question. 5.4 kilometres in length with 15 turns, 3 DRS zones, 1 down the start-finish straight, 1 up the hill towards turn 4 and 1 down in towards turn 11. All opportunities possibly for overtaking out on track tonight, and it's going to be fascinating to see who is going to really excel, pardon the pun, out on track tonight. I've already done it with the puns, haven't I? We go then into qualifying at Bahrain, and this really, if this was a real-life Grand Prix, this would be the 16th renewal of the Bahrain Grand Prix, but for us in TTML, it's the first. And I couldn't think of a better track to open up than in Bahrain. As my co-commentator, I think, has disappeared from me. Gary, is he here? He is here.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't know he was bringing me in then. But yeah, it's a fantastic track to go racing at. Action all the way through from start to finish. Plenty of overtaking opportunities. And we can see the first cars coming out on track. And I believe that is the racing point of Adam Mako ahead of both of the Renaults. Yeah,
Volokongan actually is the first out on track. He's already flying, coming through the middle sector, and Volokongan is one of the new drivers here in Division 2. I think at one stage last season, if I remember, he was Division 5. Yes, you heard me right, Division 5. He went in there for one race. I think he was promoted up to Division 3 for the most part of last season. How do you rate his chances with him being one of the new drivers tonight?
He's had a fantastic climb up through the ranks, but as you get higher, the competition gets stiffer, and this is where he's got to prove that this is where he belonged from the start.
Yeah, he's got to belong here in Division 2 from the start. And of course, Division 3 is also live. Aiden Carter there, they're already 7 minutes through qualifying. We've just started qualifying, but you're in the best seats in the house, both in Division 2 and Division 3 tonight for all of the action here on TTML. Let's begin then with the first lap of Division 2 this season, and it is with Volokongan coming out the final corner, opening up now the DRS, running down the straight in excess of nearly 205 mile an hour, I think, coming down the straight towards turn 1, brakes just before the 100 metre board, a little bit early in terms of the braking, but managed to get the car stopped through turn 1, now through turns 2 and 3. And then up the slight rise towards turn 4. This is really the only drop in, the only change in elevation through the first sector, as he now comes wide, taking a very wide line coming through turn 4, and then through turn 5, where we saw that duel in the desert between Hamilton and Rosberg. 27.7 through the first sector from Volokongan, and through the S's, he was very clean and neat through there. Now down the hill in towards turn 8, and once again we slightly rise up the hill through the middle sector, probably the most undulation of the 3 sectors, now through the double left at 9 and 10, trying to get the car stopped. We saw Recon in Division 1 spin it there in qualifying, but Volokongan now down the straight, opens up the second DRS zone out on track, in excess of nearly 200 mile an hour, down in towards the braking zone at the 100 metres board, turns in very nicely for turn 12, and now in towards turn 12, I should say, through turn 11 that was, through turn 12, 104.3 through the middle sector for Volokongan, not looking like the quickest lap if I've got to be honest, but through, and it's nice and clean so far. He's got a car ahead of him out on track, which I do believe is a Williams, which will be Nathan out on track on an out lap. Volokongan then round the final corner. We've got a racing point, I think, of Alonso in behind him out on track, with Volokongan now across the line. 125.7 starts us off, and it is actually the other racing point of Adam Mako coming round the final corner. Let's see what he is going to set to the line. I think he might go quicker than Volokongan, and just he doesn't actually. 125.7. Ryan though goes quickest out of everyone, 125.4, and Gary already best in your predictions so far, 25.2.
Yeah, the Renault is performing very well at the start, but first laps is all about getting that sighter in. Just get a time on the board. That is what the first laps are all about, as we're starting to see sometimes coming in now. Trippy Jeff up in the 4th. XL Redeemer up into 3rd with a 25.5.
Sorry about that. Go on.
Go on.
I was going to say sorry about that. I had to unmute my mic because my mum came in my room and she's ordering something. But there we go. Matt Tibos responds 2,000s quicker than Gary. Already seen the competitive lap times being set here in Division 2. Matt Tibos goes quickest in the McLaren, and his teammate Mashiro actually just coming across the line goes 3rd. Scuderia Seb though into the 24.9s. Very nice lap there with 5 minutes gone.
Yep, and interestingly enough, his teammate AJ on a set of the mediums.
Yeah, we saw quite a few drivers actually do that in Division 1. They changed from a set of mediums into a set of softs. It's because I think this track is one of the most high tyre wearing circuits on the F1 calendar. It's something like 5% on a set of softs, 4% on a set of mediums per lap. And if you talk about that, we're going to see relatively early pit stops, I think, in the race. Just trying to flick through anybody that's coming across the line. Chionis then is across into the pit lane. So he is invalid coming through the middle sector, now through the final sector, obviously into the pit lane now. Alonso is also invalidated, and so has Nathan out on track as well. But Scuderia Seb currently holding the fort out in front. He's just 3/10s clear. Just the 3/10s clear of Matt Tibos in 2nd, Gary in 3rd, Mashiro 4th, Ryan in 5th, and defending Division 3 champion F1 AMG in 6th position. Not looking too bad so far in qualifying.
Nope, very competitive. I was just on board with Powdy as he goes purple in Sector 1, just going through turn 10 now, opening DRS on the run down to 11. It's looking like a very, very competitive lap from the man in the Alpha Tauri.
Oh, looking nice there, coming through turn 11. We pick on board then with the lap coming through the end of the middle sector. He's going to be in and around Volakongan's middle sector, 104.3 actually, coming through the middle sector, which suggests to me he's going to be going around Mashiro Ryan sort of area, I think. So Powdy now towards the line. He's got relatively low fuel, I think, which could serve as an advantage coming through 14 and 15. Seb though out on top, Tibos 2nd, Gary in 3rd, but now Powdy to the line. Where's he going to go? He goes well in behind. In fact, he just improves ahead of Volakongan and goes 11th. So already here in Division 2, a prediction that has gone wrong by me.
Yeah, and I think all the time was lost there on his run out of turn 13. He just couldn't get to the apex and just drifted a bit too wide on the exit, and I think that's where he's lost his time.
On board with his teammate though, the all-Irish pairing of course, the Alpha Tauris of Powdy and TRT James, and it is my namesake, James, that we are on board with, and he's quicker actually than Powdy. Coming at that point through the DRS split, he's probably around a 10th and a half quicker at this point, but let's see as he comes now through turn 11. Doesn't want to catch the curve on the outside or on the inside. Now coming through turn 12, where we saw Schiaparelli spin it in Division 1, and it's a 104 flat, so he's 3/10 quicker than Powdy through that middle sector. Doesn't mean to say he's going to be absolutely flying out on track. I would expect him to go around F1 AMG Zadema sort of area. Trippy Jeff as well in there in 8th on his debut in Division 2. But James now to the line. Let's see what he's going to set. DRS now enabled, comes across the line. Oh, he goes 2nd. Great lap there by James. The Irishman goes 2nd ahead of Matt Tibos. And that puts a little bit of pressure now on Scuderia Seb.
Yep, 100%. And what a lap there from James. Really, really showcasing a perfect middle and final sector and really getting himself up there.
Yeah, Zadema is just about to start a lap. I think we've got Tionis on a lap as well. Just looking through, coming through turn 4. Tionis has got to be careful. He looks like he's lagging quite a bit on my screen. Not sure if he's doing that the same with yours as well. But Tionis just lagging about a bit, just jumping about. Coming through the first sector, 27.6. Through the first sector is there or thereabouts, and what you want to be setting through the first sector. It's not looking too bad so far.
Yeah, and I can confirm he is just slightly bouncing around for me as well. So it's not just you, but as he comes into turn 10, yes, nice turn and a nice exit out of turn 10. So that will help him maximise his run down into 11, breaking just before the 50-metre board, down into 4th. And for the best exit possible, now into turn 12. getting close to that curb, almost touching it there.
Yeah, a bit of a lift-off, I think, coming through turn 12 there as well. You just heard the throttle just really be feathered coming halfway through the corner, and that's to indicate why he's 104.3 through the middle sector. There is a yellow flag just ahead of him out on track. I think it's TLC James just on the down lap. Tionas now towards the line. Let's see what he's going to say. He's going to be there or thereabouts, I think. Goes 7th, 25.4. Just trying to see on board if we've got anybody else on the lap. Zwadema is 2/10 up. Coming through the middle sector, now through the final corner. That was a little bit of a run out wide coming through to 15. And as Adema to the line, goes 6th. He lost a little bit of time there in that final 2 corners. I think he might just have to right the wrongs of that. Volakongan as well to the line, goes 6th. Nice lap from Volakongan.
Yeah, but I believe we got Ryan.
Matt Tibos! Matt Tibos has been disqualified from the session for going the wrong way. Now, I saw him off track coming through the middle sector, and unfortunately, Matt Tibos has been disqualified. It is exactly what we saw in Division 1 with one of the drivers, where they go the wrong way, and they've been disqualified from the session. So clearly, Matt Tibos is going to be really annoyed with that, and I think you're going to be especially annoyed because he was in your top 3.
Yeah, my prediction has gone out the window already. With 7 minutes to go.
Absolutely unbelievable. This is what you get. Don't trust the commentary team in terms of the predictions. I think that's what we're trying to find out here tonight. F1 AMG then, Division 3 champ to the line. Going to be a really quick lap this from F1 AMG. Goes 4th ahead of Gary. Gary, I think, is also improving 2/10 up through the final corner. He now races to the line. Does Gary across the line. Goes 3rd ahead of his teammate. What is Ryan doing? Nothing, because he is invalid. He's not valid. AJ is down in 16th, comes to the line, goes 5th. Much better there from AJ, but I've just got to say, the 16 drivers that have set laps so far, halfway through qualifying, Scuderia Seb leads, James 2nd, Gary 3rd. But the whole field of those that have set lap times are separated by less than 8/10 of a second. Absolutely unreal.
Incredibly competitive, and we haven't seen what Alonso can do yet. Alonso was very handy last season.
Yeah, I think he's just picking up needless invalidations, I think, out on track, which is unfortunate for him. Hopefully we'll get to see the real best of him as Callboy is retired there. Coming through turn 11, Mashiro, though, was on a lap in the meantime, and let's see what the Japanese man can do. Now, to the line, Mashiro goes quickest. By 300ths of a second, Mashiro puts it all on the line, goes quicker than Scuderia Seb. Scuderia Seb is trying to respond. He'll be next to come across the line with 6 minutes to go. Runs out wide coming through turn 14 to try and prioritise the exit. He's a 10th down through that middle sector. Now to the line. Is he going to improve ahead of Mashiro? No, he's 700ths down, found a little bit of time. But Mashiro now out on top from Scuderia Seb 2nd, James in 3rd.
Yep, fantastic lap there from Mashiro to get himself on provisional pole, and this is a lot closer than anticipated. Just 300ths of a second separating first and second.
Yeah,
incredible.
Really close. Powdy's going to cross the line, I think, 8th. 25.3, and yet they still get closer and closer to that time into the 24s. So 25.3 there by Powdy. He goes 8th ahead of Trippy Jeff. Trippy Jeff is down on a lap. He's not setting a time here. He'll be coming into the pit lane with about 5 minutes to go out on track. Let's focus though on Alonso. He's just recently came out the pit lane. Down in 17th position. The only driver not to set a lap time so far. Pressure's got to be on.
Yeah, he really needs a lap on the board now, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think this could be his one and only opportunity. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get back in and then get back out.
Well, you've got to think it's around 1 minute 20, well, just take it as 1 minute 25 seconds for a lap around here at Bahrain. That's probably like an average time. Probably reduce that by a second either way. It's going to be quite close, as you say. And Alonso will come across the line, I think, with about 3 minutes 55 seconds, I'm going to say, on the clock. So it's going to be quite tight. He might have put enough fuel in for 2 laps, actually. He invalidates coming through turn 13. Let's hope this is not a this and next lap invalidation, as he now comes for the line. The only other guy out on track, by the way, is Powdy, who I think is on a down lap and will be returning to the pit lane. Alonso then through the final corner, and it's a this and next lap invalid because he's into the pit lane. So we're going to have no one out on track.
Nope, and this is going to be the cool down. Everyone now really going to be focusing, getting themselves prepared for this one final run.
Nathan actually is coming out on track. 12th position, currently 25.4. But again, top 16, let me just reiterate this, is separated by less than 0.8 of a second with 3 minutes 30 seconds to go out on track. Who are you supporting in that comment section? Do let us know, of course, by coming into the YouTube comments and replying within the comments thread, and it should be up on the top right hand side of the screen as well when we get, of course, in between the qualifying and in between the race as well. But just judging by the pace, honestly, we said it before we came live, this is honestly one of the closest grids I think I've seen in terms of pace.
Yeah, it is incredibly close now, just half a second separating first all the way down to 13th.
Which is
incredible.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. If Alonso gets a lap in as well, Matt Tibos was there or thereabouts. I think he was about 5th before he got disqualified. So Matt Tibos got disqualified for going the wrong way. We came on board with him quite late out on track. But what it seemed like, he lost it coming through the S section and spun the car. And obviously the gamers thought, oh, we'll just completely disqualify him from the lap. You've got to get going within a certain time frame, I think. It's within about 20 seconds you've got to get going. Nathan, though, around the final corner. Mike, do you want to take us through this lap?
Yeah, so DRS wide open there for Nathan as he crosses the line to start his flying lap on the run down into turn 1 in excess of 330 kilometers per hour, breaking down into second gear as he tries to get the traction down through turns 2 and 3. DRS wide open now on the run down into turn 4, breaking around about the 100-meter board into third gear, rotating the car lovely there through turn 4, now into the S's. He is just down on his timers. Oh, he gets onto the curb and spins it.
I think he's
a bit greedy.
Yeah, I think he's on a Matt Tibos to be there, to be honest. He's on the other side of the track. He'll get going. He won't be disqualified from the session, which I'm very glad to report. But Nathan, unfortunately, not on a lap. I'm just trying to see who is next best place to come across the line. I think it'll be Gary, who was on a lap. And we've also got Ryan on an out lap. I'm just trying to spot out of everyone that's out on track. I'm trying to deduce it by who's on the right-hand side and who's furthest up. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's Gary. Yeah, he's through the middle sector. He's on a lap here with 1 minute to go, basically, in qualifying. J. Cole saying he might have to join. I don't think he's joined just yet, so it's unfortunate. He thought he would have been back before qualifying, but he hasn't. So that is why he's not here. Gary, though, through the middle sector. Now, towards turn 11, under the night lights here, of course, in Bahrain. I couldn't think of a better track for a season opener. So now Gary comes through turn 11 and now through turn 12, looking very, very nice on the throttle there, and he's up 1300s up. But that purple will be indicative, I think, of a personal best, as opposed to him going absolutely flying out on track and setting the purple middle sector out of everyone. That'll be indicative of his personal best. Now through the final corners comes Gary. He's got to really try and find the time coming through the final sector to try and trouble Machivo and Scuderia Seb. To the line goes Gary. He goes 4th, and I don't think he's going to improve. And yet another Mike prediction has gone astray, I'm afraid to say. We have got, I think, TLT James round through turn 12, just catching the curb through turn 12. He's going to retire the car, I think, out on track. He's got out of the way of a Haas, which is coming through, I think, as Volakongan. To the line, though, is AJ, I think, out on track. Just trying to find him. Goes quickest, 24.8. Caught that right at the end. Sorry about the shoddy camera work, but AJ goes quickest. Let's see who'll be next to come across the line. We've got Adamako, 2/10 up. Volakongan, I think, as well, coming to the line. But he's into the pit lane. The Haas is into the pit lane to Adamako now. Through the final corner. Let's see if he's going to improve. Adamako now to the line. Is he going to improve? Yes, up to 11th. Now, the Alpha Tauris, Powdy through the final corner. 4/10 up. He's got help from his teammate, TLT James. They're going to be working together. Powdy now to the line. Is he going to go quickest? No, he goes third, and he's just 8,000th off Mashiro. Mashiro's through a lap in the middle sector. We've got Zwadema on a lap, who is down on the lap. Actually, Gary is down on the lap. Ryan now to the line, is nearly 2/10 up through the middle sector, comes across the line, goes second, and he's only 6,000th off. Scuderia Seb comes in by 1,000th of a second. Where's Mashiro? He's 800th up. He can do this, the Japanese man. He's got to find 200th coming through the final sector. Mashiro now flying it to the line. Can he deny Scuderia Seb late? Yes, he can! By 400ths of a second, Mashiro takes pole. Tionis is not on the lap either. And that is it, I think, for qualifying. Mashiro out on top. My goodness me, what a qualifying session. And the top four separated by 500ths of a second.
Absolutely incredible. As we got Zudema coming into the pit lane now, he'll be the one who will have to retire. But absolutely incredible there. We almost had the Mercedes 1-2, but the McLaren denying the front row lockout.
Mashiro challenges in a recon, I think, of Division 1. Remember, recon leaves it normally quite late in Division 1, while Mashiro's just left it right down to the wire. Look at that for a top four. 500ths of a second. We'll run through the order. Mashiro out on top. Scuderia Seb in second, denying Mercedes of a possible 1-2 in qualifying. AJ in third, with Ryan in fourth. Powdy and James, good start from the AlphaTauri in fifth and sixth. There's Rodema in seventh. Gary in eighth. Chionis in ninth. Now, he was on an outlap on my end, but that's obviously updated itself. He's ninth. Trippy Jeff in 10th on his debut. F1 AMG Division 3 champion 11th, with Sway in 12th. Adamako 13th. Alonso 14th. Volakongan 15th. Nathan 16th. Callboy 17th. Less than 6/10 separating the top 16. Less than 7¼ separating the top 17. Matt Tibos, the only one not to feature because of a disqualification halfway through the session. But let's have a look once again at the track map in question, and we have completed the qualifying. 18 minutes now done of qualifying. We now move on to 29 laps out on track, and well, if qualifying's anything to go by, we're going to be in for an absolute treat of a race.
Yep, absolutely. Qualifying an absolute nail biter, and this can only lead to what should be an incredibly competitive race. And I honestly, I have no idea of top three predictions here because it is going to be so close. But I'm going to push you for a top three prediction now.
Oh, terrible. The dice has been turned. It's all been forced onto me now. I'll make my prediction when we get to the end of the formation lap. I'd rather not try and preempt anything. You know how successful my predictions are as well, to anybody that is tuned in. But 5.4 kilometres in length, nearly 157 kilometres in race distance, and Bahrain, I think, if I'm right in saying, is third. It's the third longest track on the calendar, behind Azerbaijan and Belgium. I'm pretty certain of that fact. It's near enough third or fourth, I think, in terms of track length.
I am not entirely. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
I was going off because I was watching F1 2017 Azerbaijan. There's a full race up on YouTube, and now I hope it doesn't get taken down that I've said that. And David Croft said in commentary that it was the second longest track behind Spa. Now I'm thinking 5.4 kilometres in length is probably third or fourth longest on the calendar. So it's going to be fascinating to see. Let's have a look at the strategies though in question. Top 10, of course, qualifying on a set of soft compounded tyres, and an interesting mix actually further down the field. F1 AMG, Sway, Volakongan, Nathan, Callboy, Matt Tibos, all on a set of medium compounded tyres. Now, remember what I said in qualifying. 4% tyre wear possibly per lap for those medium compounded tyres. They're on fresh set of mediums as well. Adamako and Alonso, though, have gone same right down the middle onto a set of hard compounded tyres. How long do you see those hards and those mediums, respectively as well, lasting out on track?
I believe the mediums will start the drop off around lap 11, I believe, and then they'll start to think about a pit stop. Softs, of course, will only last, I believe, around 7 laps around here.
Yeah, it's literally just came up on the predicted pit stop strategy as well. Lap 7 to 9, I think it was, for the set of softs, and then it was a 2-stop strategy, 18 to 22 for set of mediums. Nobody's going to be going on the 2-stop unless we have a safety car, I think, out on track. And what everyone now is tuning in for is my first prediction of the Division 2 season. Quote me on this after the race if I get this right, but I'm going to go Scuderia Seb for the win. I think he's going to outpace Mashiro. Mashiro for second, and for third, I'm going to go for Zwiedema. I think he's got a very good race in him on debut. But in true James Allen style, are you ready? The 5 red lights will be going out very shortly indeed for the Division 2 opener here in Bahrain. Under the night lights, are we going to get a duel in the desert? And are we going to get a crown as Jonas has actually set a fastest lap of the race and has left the session? But 5 red lights here in Bahrain for the Season 1 opener. And it's lights out and away we go. Mashiro gets a very good start. Good start as well by Scuderia Seb. And it could be 3 wide with AJ. The 2 Mercedes have outjumped Mashiro. Down in towards turn 1. Seb on the inside line. AJ down the middle trying to thread the eye of the needle. But Mashiro was round on the outside. Can he maintain second? No! AJ is through and he's up to second. And he's now challenging his teammate. It is like the duel in the desert early on with the 2 Mercedes. Everyone has got through turn 1 safely, which I'm glad to report. Jonas' AI is somewhere in amongst the mix as well. We're seeing a lot of Constantine effect coming through turn 4. Adamako, I think, has been caught up in that. Jonathan rejoined. Oh, and F1 AMG, Matt Tibos have been caught in a collision. AMG and Matt Tibos just get caught on each other, both on a set of mediums. McLaren and Ferrari out of positions now in 17th and 18th. They can still keep on going though. Jonas dropping down positions, but what a start as Ryan goes side by side with Zwiedema, not surely going to go around the outside, coming through turn 10, but Zwiedema hangs on, and I'm mispronouncing his name. Zwiedema is in 6th position now, Ryan in 7th. Fantastic racing early on. The 2 Mercedes though broke away. Adamako now is through on Jonas' AI, but Scuderia Seb leads, AJ 2nd, Mashiro 3rd, Powdy 4th, James in 5th. AlphaTauri's making up positions, but the real chief loser out of all of this, Jonas down 5, Mashiro down 2 positions, and Ryan down 3, and Gary is now on the back of his teammate trying to find a way through, running down the hill in towards turn 14 and 15 for the first time. Trippy Jeff comes out the slipstream as well. Volakongan looking quite close on the back of Adamako, but at the end of lap 1, Scuderia Seb leads, AJ 2nd, and let the graphics glitch commence.
Yep, as graphics glitch plays havoc with us as we try to go for the order, but it is Scuderia Seb who is in the lead, AJ directly behind him, as well as Mashiro in 3rd. And both of the AlphaTauris doing a fantastic job at the start there. As we wait for the graphics glitch to get going again with a 20.4 here from Jonas.
That is a glitch and a half. That will not be counted as the fastest lap. If anybody is thinking that will not be counted as the fastest lap of the race. That is probably why he's rejoined. That's why the glitch, I should say, has happened. But the 2 Mercedes off the start, Scuderia Seb has absolutely burst away from AJ, and both in turn getting through on Mashiro. Was that the plan early on in this race, to get past Mashiro? Because Mashiro, with all due respect, is trying to catch back onto the back of AJ, but in turn is bringing Powdy and possibly James along with him.
Yeah, I mean, AJ's launch off the line was absolutely fantastic. Very Bottas-esque in Austria, if you remember, to that race, and he almost got both Mashiro and his teammate off the line as well into turn 1.
I'll tell you what, Mashiro could come under pressure here from Powdy. Very, very slow run out coming through the final corner there from Mashiro. Powdy pulls out the slipstream. He's pulled a second already to James as well. Running down in towards turn 1. Corporal looking quite close on Adamako. This could be a move. The Red Bull now on the side of the racing point. Down the inside he goes. Callboy as Jonas leaves the session again. Callboy is through and he's up into 13th position. Mediums against hards. Job done. Adamako will try and come back with the added DRS now running up towards turn 4. But it's job done and Nathan dives it down the inside. See that just in the foreground of shot as well. And Sway comes back at him and regains the position. So Red Bull's fighting either way. Callboy has gained the position on Adamako, and Sway nearly lost the position on Nathan, but he hangs on.
Yep, and a lovely little switch back there from Sway, and a little bit heavy on the brakes there from Nathan. As you see, locking up, almost going directly into the back of Sway. I don't think any wing damage occurred there, but
Yeah, just
very feisty out there.
Yeah, just a slight tap, I think, on the back. Nathan might have just misjudged his braking point slightly. Sway probably broke earlier than him, and that's what he wasn't expecting. No front wing damage, I can confirm, on that Williams. He's up there in 11th position. But Mashiro now is beginning to put pressure on AJ. We saw this last season plenty of times with AJ, where he would struggle within the race. He's got great one-lap pace, and coming out the final corner gets very shaky. Mashiro now can have a run down the straight, down towards turn 1. Is the McLaren going to be close enough? You bet he is. He's going to go down the inside now. He's going to bring Powdy along with him possibly as well. But Mashiro down the inside line. The McLaren is through, and he's into second position. And that's what I was saying. AJ does not have the consistency, or does he, to come back. He's trying to defy me, the commentator, out on track. But no, Mashiro has now signed, sealed and delivered that position, and he's now through and he's up into second position. And AJ not carrying that race form currently from qualifying, as we saw the same last season with him, where he couldn't carry the one lap pace directly to the race, and he's going to be under pressure from Powdy as well.
Yeah, Powdy just keeping him behind this battle right now, just waiting for his opportunity to pounce. And important for James, because he did drop out of DRS at one point. He's managed to get back within half a second of his teammate, and that is crucial, because that would have made him a sitting duck to the likes of Zwidemer, Ryan and Gary.
Yeah, and Ryan actually on the back of Zwidemer, both XL drivers, 6th and 7th. I think Jonas has just joined, which accounts for the interval timings now going off on the left-hand side. But Ryan is looking quite competitive, I've got to say. He's on a set of soft compounder tyres. He looks like he's just trying to feather the throttle coming out to the corners. But I can already see a very faint sign on that front right tyre for Ryan. He looks like he's occurring a little bit of blistering on that. He's just got to be careful, I think. We should see Powdy possibly get a move now on AJ down towards turn 1. The interval timings are now back as Powdy now closes in, down towards turn 1. Is he going to be death-defying late on the brakes? No, is the answer, and AJ remains in position for now for third. Mashiro bringing really good pace as well. He's catching Scuderia Seb out in front, and TRT James now is through on Powdy. Powdy just pulls to the right-hand side of the track, and you say, you know what? I'll let my teammate through. TRT James is through, and he's up into 4th, and Nathan and Sway are going at it as well, coming up the hill in towards turn 4, and Nathan is through, and he's up into 10th position, and Matt Tibos, I think, is through as well, and Alonso, and he is up after an early collision. Up to 15th, but Alonso trying to get the switchback, I think.
Yeah, he did try it, just couldn't get the traction down enough to get alongside that McLaren, but it is still all to play for the racing points. It is a long game that they are playing.
Yeah, remember Matt Tibos actually got caught up in that first lap incident with F1 AMG. F1 AMG has came into the pits, and Volakongan has run out wide, coming on the straight. I'm not sure if he tried to lose the car off the corner, but Callboy is now through and he's up into 12th. It could have just been a let through there. Strange nonetheless, Volakongan could have put up a bit more of a fight, but Callboy is through and he's up into 12th position. Looking further up the field as well, we're beginning to see a bit of a DRS train, I think, form. TRT James all the way back to Trippy Jeff, all soft runners, all the same strategy. They're on a they're trying to commit to the one-stop strategy, but they're in a bit of a DRS zone, and now Powdy closes up on his teammate, and I think it's going to be team orders the other way around this time. Powdy to the inside line. TRT James will not fight this, I don't think. Oh, they might actually coming through turn 1 and 2. He's still hanging on in there, TRT James, but Powdy is through. Clean move, that's what you like to see. No team orders occurring. Powdy through and he's up into 4th.
Yeah, respect from the two teammates there, and Powdy getting the job done. Now, crucially, it's a 1.5 second gap now between Powdy and AJ, so that relieves the pressure from AJ somewhat. We saw him struggling just a little bit earlier on as Zwidemer locking that there, almost going into the back of James. But I'm keeping an eye on these medium compound tyres. The gap between Nathan and Trippy Jeff, it is starting to go as James
makes a mistake. Yeah, he makes a mistake coming out of turn 11, and now Ryan is going to try and feed in as well. Zwidemer is through, and he's up into 5th. James really struggling, I think, with the blistering. You can just see on that rear left tyre, he's beginning to lose the rear slightly, so they're beginning to overheat. Ryan is going to try and pounce on this, but he's going to try and bring along as well his teammate in behind, Gary. Just a little bit of a gap braking, but as you say, Powdy I think there's a bit of a disadvantage here, possibly. I was going to say the AlphaTauris were battling each other and they're losing time. These guys surely have got to work together to try and gain that gap back to AJ. So the yellow flag in Sector 2 and F1 AMG is out of the race, and TRT James is the first into the pit lane. Pit window is open, lap 7 to 9 on a set of mediums if he wants to commit to a two-stop strategy. But I'm not going to focus on the pit stop because I'm going to focus on Zwiedema, who is quite close now on the back of Parry. And again, I mispronounced his name once again. It's so difficult to quite pronounce his right name out on track. But he's on the back of Parry, but I don't think he's close enough, and indeed he's not. But Mashiro's putting pressure on Scuderia Seb again.
Yep, and interestingly enough, they've both managed to drop AJ out of that DRS range.
Yeah, which is not a surprise, to be honest. We saw Mashiro in TTL back in the day. He was very quick, and was TTL F1 League 2 champion twice over. So Mashiro has got a lot of pace against these guys. AJ wasn't in the league at the time, but Mashiro's certainly really attributing himself well out on track. We are nearly a third of the way through, actually, here in Bahrain. And it's Scuderia Seb who leads, Mashiro second, AJ in third. You are in the kind commentary box of myself, James Head, and Michael Edwards, who are taking you through the action. Aidan Carter's all by himself still for Division 3, if you want to go and tune in for that. Not hinting at anything at all. But if you're enjoying the action here, of course, do leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tick that notification bell as F1 AMG, unfortunately for the Division 3 champion, is out of the race. And Parry, Zwiedema and Ryan are all in.
And yep, and that is a smart move there from Paudi. The undercut can be very good around here. I believe we saw a fantastic undercut going on in Division 1 on Tuesday. So we'll have to watch that gap, because Paudi could very easily be on the back of Mashiro, as Mashiro's actually got the move done on Scuderia Seb.
Where did he manage that on the side-by-side, like the duel in the desert in 2014? Scuderia Seb down the inside, Mashiro round the outside, gets the move done. Nathan, 3-second time penalty further down the field, but Mashiro, great side-by-side action there. We missed the move, we were focusing completely on the pit stops. TRT James, by the way, is ahead of Paudi in all of that. So the undercut has worked for him on a set of medium compounder tyres, trying to make that last to the end. But we completely missed a change for the lead, and Mashiro now leads, Scuderia Seb second, AJ third.
Yeah, fantastic battle there between Mashiro and Scuderia Seb. It was 2014-esque there between the McLaren and the Mercedes. And now pit windows open. Will we see Mashiro and Scuderia Seb peel off into the pits this lap, or will AJ think about an undercut on his teammate?
I think, honestly, one of these guys has got to blink first. If I was in Total Wolf's mind at this stage, the virtual Total Wolf, as I say, and Seb, I think, has got a pit, because he's just nearly lost it at the final corner. And yeah, driver, I think, in front, prioritise. Scuderia Seb then into the pits. On go, a set of hard compounder tyres. Mercedes, of course, the furthest away from the pit exit, so really got a whole host of things to get through. I think Trippy Jeff might have just held them up there slightly as well. Looking further up the field, Nathan, Sway, Callboy, all looking quite close for fourth and fifth, and now Callboy.
James and Scuderia. It's got to be close, and James gets ahead.
James has got ahead on a set of mediums, I think. All account for that, and Paudi is side by side with Scuderia Seb. There's so much going on, we can't keep up. Callboy, by the way, is through on Sway, getting that move done. Paudi now on the back of Scuderia Seb, and this is for a net P2 out on track. But TRT James, medium compound of tyres, he's going to be out of place, I think, towards the end of this race, because we saw in Division 1 quite a few drivers put on a set of mediums. They did not last. I think it was Bianchi who put it on in Division 1, and they did not last, as Callboy and Nathan go side by side, and Callboy's through, and he's up into third position. We catch on board with that quite late. There's honestly so much going on. We need a Ted Kravitz, I think, in the commentary box. Oh, and Ryan into the back of Paudi. Forced him out of the way. He's got to let him through, I think. He might just let him give the position back, and Paudi on the outside line has got the run, but Ryan not giving up without a fight down the inside line. Can he get the move done through turn 11? Paudi on the outside, and they're still side by side. Now coming through turn 12, look at Zwiedema in behind as well. And what a move that is from Ryan around the outside, coming through turn 12. Already we see an overtake of the season candidate. Ryan is through, and he's up into 11th. That's for net P3.
Yeah,
and Zwiedema.
Fantastic move there.
Zedema's coming back at Powdy down the inside line to turn 14. Never an overtaking opportunity, but he manages to make a move. Powdy is being bullied out of these positions, and now Gary is in amongst this as well. Your prediction might be coming right after all. Gary is now through on Powdy, and Trippy Jeff's going to have a go. Look at that, AJ coming out the pit lane as well. He's on Ryan, they're side by side. TLT James and Mashiro are side by side as well. I feel sorry for Tom. The replay cams are going to be non-existent, I think, at this point, because there's so much going on out on track with Trippy Jeff and Powdy now going side by side, running up in towards turn 4. Can he get the move done? Yes! The German is through. Trippy Jeff, he's through and he's up into 14th position. But my goodness me, how many overtakes have we seen in the space of 30 seconds?
This has been absolutely fantastic. The pit stop strategy from everyone here has been absolutely fantastic. It's from a real spanner into the works, and James is ahead of Mashiro. So this is ideal for James if he really wants to try and make this strategy work. He needs to pull a big gap.
I've got to be honest, I think Mashiro's at a significant advantage. James has got clear out on track now. That is going to bring him closer to the likes of Alonso, who are going to go on a one-stop towards the end of the race. But Mashiro is crucially within that DRS zone. He's got 70% of ERS. James has got 8% of ERS. So that is why Mashiro, I think, is at a more distinctive advantage. Not only that, but Mashiro is going to be dragging along the likes of Ryan, AJ, Zvedema, all into this race. So we could see possible battles up and down the field throughout this race. Trippy Jeff trying to get close now onto the back of Gary on lap 11 out of 29. Trippy Jeff trying to dive it down the inside, doesn't commit the move, and they stay as they are for now. Nathan now leads. There was a pit stop, I think, and all of that, and Cowboy was the one that pitted, and he's came out, crucially, I think, in clear out behind the likes of Powdy. But with him being on 2-lap fresher tyres, he will catch the guys ahead eventually, but are they going to still be, will he still be in a bit of traffic, I think, come later on in the race?
Yeah, I believe he will. It's what we got right now, we got a DRS train forming from Ryan all the way down to Proudy, and once Cowboy catches onto the back of that, that's just another name into the train.
Another name into the train, and you can see how crucial that clear air it actually is for Cowboy. He's just gained about a tenth of a second there on the back of Powdy, but I think Powdy, of course, in that DRS is now gaining, and that is crucial to their chances. Mashiro is hounding all over the back of TRT James, just loses a little bit of time coming out of turn 13 out on track. Nathan Swain Volakongan, by the way, out in front are quite close. Alonso, though, is looking for a move on his teammate. Adamaco and Alonso, and I don't think Alonso's going to go for this one. He's going to think longer term into the race, and he's not going to lunge it down the inside on the racing points. The 2 racing points remain as they are. Mashiro closing up on James, and I think it's just gone stale, to be honest.
Yeah, XL Ryan just managed to get himself back within that DRS window of Scuderia Seb, and he is going to benefit for it. He needs to stay in that DRS window, but look at his ERS at the moment.
15%, yeah. His ERS is going to be really telling towards the end of the race. I mean, look at AJ in behind. He's got nearly 40% more in terms of ERS. And what we mean about ERS, if you are new to Formula 1, is the energy recovery system. Think of it in layman's terms. Think of it in simple terms. When you brake into a corner, you conserve the energy. When you go out of the corner, you waste that energy. That is literally what ERS really means. There's a lot more complexity to it, but that is bread and butter what ERS actually is. And DRS as well, the drag reduction system gives them extra power down the straight. To be honest though, I don't think really anybody's going to be getting extra power down the straight because they're all really in a DRS train.
Yeah, the only people are likely for making a move right now in terms of this train is going to be Shiro on James and AJ on Ryan.
Top 3 are in on their pit window, lap 13 to 15. Their pit window for Volakongan, Sway and Nathan, who are all into the pit lane. We'll cut though to Mashiro, who is chasing down TRT James. He's got the overtake mode up, and this is going to be job done before turn 1. Mashiro has sailed by for the lead of the race. Well, the net lead of the race currently. TRT James will try and fight back. He's got better tyres, but Mashiro just sitting and waiting in behind. He pounced, he goes for that move, and he's now into the lead of the race. Ryan is now through, I think, on AJ as well. just in behind out on track, but job done for the net lead of the race. AJ now is fighting back on Ryan. Down the inside line, the Mercedes and the Renault fight, and the Renault just about comes out on top. Superior traction around the outside. Ryan is driving that Renault as if it's a Mercedes out on track. He is really gunning for it, and again, another smart move on AJ. He is now up intranet P4, but currently P6 out on track.
Yep, and this is absolutely fantastic for Ryan because, as you mentioned, the mediums could be incredibly vulnerable in the latter stage with James running them at the moment, and that could be the battle for the final step on the podium.
It could be indeed. It's going to be fascinating, I think. We are not even halfway through, and yet we've got an overtake of the season candidate. We've got a DRS train that spans 6 drivers, and we've just had an overtake for the net lead of the race. What is not to like about this race so far? Alonso is looking quite close on the back of Adamaco, and now I think it's his time to go and get Adamaco. He's within his pit window, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to get this move done. Or is he? Is he going to dive it down the inside late? No. So for the battle for the lead, Adamaco still leads Alonso second. Mashiro third. AJ closing up on Ryan. He's going to try and go around the outside, coming through turn 1. Switches it down on the inside. This will be smart if he pulls this off AJ. But no, Ryan defends like an absolute lion out on track. AJ tries to get within that slipstream. Now comes for a run. Coming through turn 4. Round the outside he goes. Can he try and switch it back? Ryan a little bit hesitant on the power on the inside line. And he barely hangs on. Ryan hangs on to the position. But for how much longer? Because AJ looks like he's just found another gear. Ryan's off! Ryan is off, he's out of the race, and a VSE immediately deployed for that car crashing on the infield. And Ryan, unfortunately, we're just saying how well his race has been going, and I'm afraid it's another commentator's curse out on track. But that car should be cleared up quite quickly. We should get back underway very shortly. But just talk us through that. It's so unfortunate for Ryan. I was on board, I think, with AJ at the time, so we didn't really see it in terms of his perspective. But it looked like he just got caught on the outside curb, took a little bit too much on the grid, and did what we saw in qualifying with somebody, and spun it through the S section.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Ryan just drifting out just a little bit too wide onto the curb. And that curb, it can be incredibly lethal if you forget it's there.
Adamaco into the pit lane from the lead of the race. He'll be going mediums then to the end of the race. Looking further down, TLT James is coming back now on Mashiro. I don't think he's going to be close enough down the inside in towards turn 1s. But Dema is closing up now on AJ. Could launch it down the inside on Trippy Jeff. Gary very late on the brake. Nearly goes in. Forces Trippy Jeff now onto the inside line. That could be a free position for Trippy Jeff, and it is. Trippy Jeff gets the move done. He's not tripping over anyone out on track currently, and Gary has just been made to look a little bit rookie. I've got to be honest. If I've got to be really honest, that was he just locked up the brakes coming through turn 1. He let that gap on the inside just go like a parting of the Red Sea moment, and Gary has lost what was a free position.
Yep, starting to see, I think, new season nerves coming out there in Gary.
And you predicted him. You predicted him for qualifying.
In qualifying. In qualifying, not in the race.
Not in the race. Luckily, you haven't predicted him top 3 in the race. He just lost that position to Trippy Jeff, and Trippy Jeff actually, going back, I think he was an ex-member of TTL back in the day. I've commentated him in another league before, and he's really shown a good attribution to pace. And it's been shown here tonight. Adamaco, by the way, is through on Matt Tibos down the inside line in towards turn 11. That's saw that on the mini-map. And he is through. Volakongan with a 3-second time penalty through turn 13. But Alonso still staying out on track. Is he trying to go for set a soft compound of tyres?
He could be, but I think he'd lose more time by trying to do that. As we got Nathan, DRS wide open on Cowboy.
Oh, I thought Dema was going to look quite close as well on the back of AJ. Not quite. Nathan is through, as you say, on Cowboy. And he's through and he's up into P10. Fresher hard coming into play. Trippy Jeff, good run out now on Zwiedema. Zwiedema now under pressure. Running up the hill and towards turn 4. Zwiedema's locked up. And Trippy Jeff's going to get another free position, I think. He's on the inside line with the superior traction. The Haas against the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo's not giving up without a fight, though. Zwiedema trying to turn that intra-negative, intra-positive. But not. And Trippy Jeff is still there. Swedemer still side by side now on the run down towards turn 8. Trippy Jeff now on the inside line forces Swedemer out wide. Swedemer has to back off for the position, and that is very smart driving from Trippy Jeff on the brakes. He is through and he's up into P6.
Yep, Trippy Jeff taking advantage of every mistake that these guys are doing at the moment. Just trying to get ahead of people in these DRS trains. And Trippy Jeff picking up the pieces, picking up the positions, and just moving forward. However, AJ now outside of that DRS window for Trippy Jeff, and that could be crucial on the run into turn 1.
We just saw a slight mistake there, I think, from Trippy Jeff coming through turn 11. He got slightly sideways coming out of the corner. It's now brought Gary into play and Powdy. Powdy has now reached Alonso into the pit lane from the lead of the race. I think he's going to be down and clear out at the back of the field. But we ride on board then with Gary, who is closing in on Excel Zodwema, and now Zodwema is closing in on Trippy Jeff. Trippy Jeff defends to the inside line. Is the Alfa Romeo going to force it all the way around the outside? I don't think that's going to be smart enough from Zodwema to get the move done, but Trippy Jeff is still hanging on for grim life for 5th. Gary now having a run at Zodwema, but he's not close enough, and in fact not using up any overtake mode, and remains in P7 for now. TRT James though, I'm really surprised he is still sticking with Mashiro, even though now that delta time in terms of the tyres, Mashiro's going to be inferior compared to James. James has purely stayed in this race on merit and on DRS.
Yeah, James doing a fantastic job, and another interesting thing to keep our eyes on is the fact that Nathan, we just seen him get past Cowboy a few laps ago, and he's on the back of this train now on 5-lap fresher hards.
Tell you what, 5-lap fresher hards, and he's really coming into play. If all of these guys fight ahead of him, Nathan could be picking up 3 positions, left, right and centre. Seb as well is on the back of James. He is currently in P3, but he is now on the back of James, and that's going to be quite fascinating towards the end of the race. We're more than halfway through then in Division 2. Myself, James Head and Mike Edwards taking you through this one here for the season opener in Bahrain. We really hope you've enjoyed this so far. But it's Mashiro who leads. Mashiro who leads, not Mashiro in second. Mashiro does lead, James second, 7th, but here comes Nathan on the back of Paddy. We've got things with them. It's going to be quite close as well on Trippy Jeff, trying to go around the outside line again, but Nathan is through, is he? Round the outside line on Paddy, gets the move done. Great stuff, and as for them, a force out wide there by Trippy Jeff slightly, brings Gary into play, and Gary trying to come back. So Zodwema now with the overspeed, trying to lunge it down the inside. He's going to be very cautious. Oh, Nathan trying to go for the inside, and Gary sways through as well on Corboy. Oh, and there's a bit of damage. Powdy's got damage, right side end plate damage. I think he got caught up in a collision with Nathan rejoining track, and Powdy has got right side end plate damage out of nothing.
Yeah, I was just on board with Powdy. He just went straight into the back as Nathan was on the curb at turn 4.
So unfortunate, and that's the difficulty. You've got to try and follow the driver in front as much as possible. Nathan obviously running over the curb. So unfortunate, I think, from his perspective, but now has just brought Powdy out of this race, essentially, out of the fight for the top 10 finish, and now he's down in P12. He could try and limber around out on track, but to be honest, he's more than likely going to risk it, I think, for a fastest lap attempt. That's what I think he might be gunning for. Powdy having such a good race as well out on track. All of the fighting though, AJ has pulled 3 seconds, I should say, on Trippy Jeff, but now Trippy Jeff is going to be under pressure. Can Zodwema finally get this move done? He's trying to conserve his ERS, and now is going to try and lunge it down the inside end towards turn 1. But what does the commentator know? He nearly goes into the back of him and remains in position. Trippy Jeff currently 5th, Zodwema 6th, Gary 7th, and everyone remaining as they are.
Well, right now we got James with his tyres really starting to wear now as he has dropped out of DRS from Mashiro, and that's going to open things up for Scuderia Seb to really attack the AlphaTauri for second place now.
Adamako down the inside of Tionis, further down the field. Smart move, nice move as well. Nice and clean. 7-lap pressure tyres. Adamako waltzes on by Tionis and he's through. And he's up into P12, which normally in League of Europe terms would mean that's the final point scoring position. But it's not here in Division 2. And Scuderia Seb around the outside, and James gets the move done. And I think James is going to have to concede defeat on those tyres. Seb has, well, breezed past him. And I think James might have had a slight sense of letting him through there, as Seb is through and he's up into second. Now, race on for the lead.
Yep, the gap of 1.3, 1.2. Scuderia Seb really pushing it on that back straight. But let's see how close he needs to get within this DRS.
James
he needs to do it.
James staying out as well. He's risking these tyres towards the end of the race. There is no chance, I think, for those tyres to get to the end of the race. Bianchi tried to take it from a similar point in the race in Division 1. Gary closing up onto a Dema. Can he close up? No, he's going to remain in position. Nathan, Sway, Cowboy, Volakongan, all coming onto the back of this train. There's a 7-car train now, basically. As there, Nathan pulls out on Gary to the outside line. Gary has to defend to the inside. Nathan very late on the brakes, trying to commit it, ran the outside. Can he get the move done? No, he just ran out too wide, and Gary remains in position for now. But Mashiro, as you say, breaking that gap. 1 second the gap now between himself and Scuderia Seb, and I've got to be honest, Seb is showing better pace than Mashiro, I think, over a lap. And he's closing in.
Yeah, and the fuel light is up right now for Mashiro, so maybe indications that he could be fuel saving.
I think he might be. He might be fuel saving, but remember, if that yellow light comes on at the bottom right hand, I'm pretty sure they're running about half a litre of fuel, half a lap of fuel, I should say, in terms of the litres. Which means if that light was to go off now, for example, he would be back essentially in a good position, as James is in from 3rd position there in the background. As I said, not committing on those tyres whatsoever. James trying to close up on Mashiro, not quite close enough. Are we eventually going to see an overtake? Because Sway closing in on Nathan, Gary closing in slightly as well. But nobody's close enough. It's gone a bit stale again.
One person I think that we might need to keep our eyes on as he slowly starts to creep his way to the back of that train. Adam Mago on those mediums. And Alonso.
Yeah, and Alonso, and he's fighting with Jonas coming up the hill as well in towards turn 5. But not quite close enough there for Alonso. Through turn 4 that was, now through turn 5. And Tionas really putting up a good fight on those hards. Of course, he was joint runner-up with Mashiro last time in Division 3 when you saw us, of course, on the back end of Season 1. Tionas finished dead level on points with Mashiro. But now how the tides have changed, because Mashiro is absolutely under pressure. He is now going to try and perform at his best level, because Seb is giving him serious concerns.
Yep, Seb has really been pushing these past few laps, and he has brought that gap now down to less than half a second. DRS, will he have a look into turn 1, or will he hold back for a run into turn 4? We'll have to wait and see as he starts to close in. Nah, he's just going to sit back.
Yeah, he wasn't close enough. I don't think he was committed, to be honest, either to using the overtake mode either. I think he's honestly just going to sit in behind Mashiro. We see this too many times around here in any of the races. Seb, the driver behind, will put the driver in front under pressure so that they're forced into a mistake. And I think that's what Seb is trying to do. Trying to get into the mentality, trying to get into the brain of Mashiro. Where can he find the time out on track? Where is Mashiro locking up? Where is he braking later? And now Seb has got to adjust that mindset. He's got to adjust that strategy to really have a go at him. He might be on a lap older tyres than Mashiro, but he's certainly got the pace to carry these a lap younger towards the end of the race.
Yeah, and there's also another benefit for Seb staying in behind, is that he can just save his ERS up.
He can, and yeah, 43% roughly coming through turn 12. Mashiro has got 36%, so actually that might be a bit nullified, I think, out on track. We're seeing Nathan, though, and Sway beginning to have a battle for 7th and 8th. Looks like Gary might be just trying to break away from these guys, but Nathan and Sway are on fresher tyres. And this is why they're coming into play now for a possible P5 finish. All the guys ahead will be very worn on terms of their tyres. Nathan and Sway will only get for about 60%, I think, as Seb is closing up for the lead of the race, and here he goes. Pass. How often do you see this at Bahrain? A Mercedes passing a McLaren, and he's through, and he's into the lead of the race. Seb maintains that he didn't want to get into the mindset at all. He was just waiting for the right moment, and he's got the right moment, and he's into the lead of the race.
Well, this is going to begin that game of cat and mouse now between these two until the end of the race. Going to be so difficult for these two to break the DRS on each other. I feel that we're just going to see these guys trading positions for the rest of this race.
Yeah, and look at the gap as well. They're still pulling out the gap, even though they're still 4 tenths fighting for the lead. They're still pulling out that gap to AJ. But Damon, by the way, is on the back of Trippy Jeff. There's a fourth now out on track with Gary, Nathan, Sway and the likes hanging on to the back. Adam Acker not really making much gains, I think. We're seeing the deltas start to swing, I think, in favour of the hard compounder tyres as opposed to the mediums. I've got to be honest though, TRT James is going to be on the back of these guys in a number of laps time. He's already closing in on Tionis. He's only got, what, 7 seconds, I would say, to the back of Volokongan. 6 seconds, it is.
I think he's going to be in a similar situation to Adam Mago, where his tyres will start to drop off before he gets it.
You never know. You never know in Formula One, and that's the absolute brilliance, I think, of this sport. And now Mashiro closing once up again to the back of Seb, but not close enough to theirs. But Demon, by the way, is now close to the back of Trippy Jeff. Not closing in enough. He's not using up the overtake mode, trying to conserve that ERS. Nathan, oh, very close, nearly into the back of Gary, just behind him out on track. Volokongan as well has made a slight mistake, and I think has just nearly dropped off the back of those guys. And now we're seeing James just in the background of shot. He's fighting with Tionis. This is for 14th and 13th now, and James is going to sail on by. There's one ticked off his list. James through, and he's up into 13th.
Yeah, so James now trying to make his way through this field as quickly as possible, try and gain as many points as possible. The two-stop strategy, it worked out for him for a while, but those mediums were never going to make it to the end. And I'm beginning to wonder, as we got a yellow flag.
Powdy.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
Powdy, I think he might have had a slight spin coming out of turn 3. And I think he might have used the reset to track feature. I'm not sure. We come on board with that quite late. But Powdy, anyways, he's on a relatively fresh set of mediums. He's spun the car and he's down in 16th position. Doesn't really affect anything around him. Mashiro, though, might retake the lead of the race as he's closing in on Seb, even without the overtake mode. Look at this, Mashiro, now to the inside line, is going to attack Scuderia Seb. And has got the move done. Mashiro's through and he's into the lead of the race, but Seb is trying to prioritise the exit. We're slightly right on board there with AJ at one point. Alonso has ran out the final corner. He's nearly done a Wesker from Division 1. VSC deployed just at the point where Seb was going to get the move done on Mashiro running up towards turn 4. VSC has been deployed, and that's because of Alonso in 15th with no front wing.
That VSC came out at the worst time for Zudema, as it looked like he was going to get a decent run on Trippy Jeff there. They were side by side in turn 1.
Such a shame. Alonso actually quite beneficial, I think. Powdy is going to have to maintain a delta time, but Alonso will come out the pits, I think, ahead of Powdy, if I'm not mistaken, unless the VSC gets back underway, which I've just said, literally said right on cue. The VSC has just ended and Powdy is going to get past an Alonso, which is such a shame compared to what I was going to say.
Oh, Nathan into the back of Gary.
Nathan into the back of Gary, and focusing on too much in terms of that. Vedema is on the back of Trippy Jeff, but now Nathan on the back. Does he have any front wing damage? I don't think he does, and again, nearly into the back. He's just over-committing it on the brakes. Oh, and he's got the move done! What a move by Nathan! He switches it to the left-hand side, coming through turn 11. That was the most unexpected place you will ever see an overtake done. Absolute inquisitive if I've ever seen one. He's now going to have a go to Vedema, possibly for 5th position. But Nathan into the back of Vedema again. is right on the back. Seb closing up on Mashiro. Can he get the move done? No. Nathan, can he get the move done on Zwedema? Zwedema now closing up on the back of Trippy Jeff, and Trippy Jeff now is under pressure as Zwedema is going to have a go to the outside line. Trippy Jeff cuts across to defend. You're all allowed to do that. TRT James, by the way, what did I say a couple of laps ago? He is now going to be on the back of these guys in just a couple of laps' time. TRT James is flying into contention. Nathan down the inside line on Zwedema. Can he get the move done? No. Zwedema, traction, prioritised on the outside. And he's through and he's still in 5th position. Tell you what, season opener and a half. We're coming to a crescendo with 3.5 laps to go here in Bahrain. Mashiro leads Seb in 2nd. We don't know who's going to be winning this race, and we don't know certainly who's going to be on the podium in this one as Nathan tries to go around the outside of Zwedema coming through 9 and 10. Not quite close enough, and now let James join in the fray as well.
This is going to be incredible. We got Adam Mako on the back of James as well, so we got the mediums and soft tyre runners starting to close up to these hard compound runners.
Goodness me, we're seeing a tale of two halves, I think. If TRT James can pull off this, it'll be absolutely fantastic. We'll try, Tom, and run through the penalties if we can, but goodness me, there's so much going on. I think we're just going to be not committing, I think. It's now Seb closing up on the back of Mashiro. We're not going to get a look at the penalties, I don't think. It's Seb now down the inside line. Retakes the lead of the race from Mashiro. Mashiro is still hanging on in there. Can Seb get the move done? Yes, he can. Mashiro now with the DRS. He's now been nullified. None of them have DRS. Nathan is through onto Adema down the inside and towards turn 1. TRT James not hanging about either on the back of Bola Kongan. You don't know where to turn. Sway on the back of Gary as well. Can he get the move done down and towards turn 4? Yes, he's very late on the brakes. Can he get the move done? No, and there's contact. Gary comes across there. Sway trying to go for gap. That was really going to close. Corpoy and James are in play. Goodness me, we are in for an absolute treat of a 2.5 lap race.
And I've just looked at the penalty situation.
Oh, there's a spinner. Corpoy has spun. Oh. Through turn 8, he's spun, he's just got caught on the power, and unfortunately for Coreboy, that has now him out of the top 10. He was right on the back of these guys, and now is in clear air and is in 14th.
So I've just looked at the penalty situation.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say, the podium is still not decided.
So AJ has got more penalties than the guys behind, is I think what you're trying to say.
AJ unfortunately got caught speeding into the pit lane. 5-second penalty.
Ooh. That's going to be quite harsh. Mashiro closing in, trying to go for the move now on Seb. They're going to yo-yo the effect down in towards turn 1. Can he get the move done, Mashiro? No, the Japanese man using his Inquisition, trying to get the move done now on the run up towards turn 4, and you know where this one's going to go. Seb is not going to defend this one. Mashiro is through, and he's into the lead of the race once again, but Seb is going to try and prioritise the exit. This is an absolute brilliant battle between these two. We still don't know who's going to win this one between these two. They are just nip and tuck. It is like the jewel of the desert, apart from one of the cars is orange.
Yeah, but we've got James getting through on Sway there as they go into the S's.
Down the inside, brilliant stuff. On the fresh compound of tyres, James is through. My namesake is making really eye-catching progress in the field. If only he didn't go on that 2-stop strategy. What could have been? On that 2-stop strategy, I'm going to cut myself in because Seb is now right on the back of Mashiro. Ooh, and was that a tap there from Seb on the back of Mashiro? Look from the camera angles as if it was, but now James is through on Gary. The two Irishmen going at it for 7th. And James is through, and he's on the back of Gary. James is like, honestly, cutting a knife through butter. He is absolutely charging.
Yeah, so this is going to be some final lap now. The gap between AJ and Trippy Jeff, 5.2 seconds. And we don't know who's going to take the race win here, as Scuderia Seb.
Not close enough. Oh, he's running out of ERS. I think he's going to try and half commit it down the inside. He's not close enough. He's got to maintain that ERS. I don't think he should have a go up towards turn 4. Because he's now run out of that. He's running at 50% power, essentially, running up the hill. Is he surely going to try and damage down the inside? He is. Seb is going to have a go here at Mashiro. But that is what I was saying. going for a move like that on 50% worth of power when the ERS has not been saved up. Mashiro hangs on to the lead of the race, but I tell you what, we have got half a lap to go out on track. We don't know who's going to finish anywhere. I'm so sorry, Tom, about the penalty situation. We do not know ourselves. There's so much going on. This has honestly been better than Division 1. You thought Division 1 come down to a crescendo. Division 2 is even better, coming down to a crescendo.
Into the back of Trippy Jeff.
He's got left side end plate damage. Left side end plate damage as well for Nathan. Saw that move down the inside line. James has got a good run out on Spadema, trying to get the run now down in towards turn 11, but he's not quite close enough. Seb and Mashiro, do you know what's coming? I think we might see a photo finish, but I'm not sure. Mashiro has got more ERS to play. In fact, they're both level. Mashiro and Seb. Seb has got to find the best final corner of his life here. Mashiro round the final corner. Judging by penalties, he hasn't got any. Mashiro is your winner here in Bahrain by 5/10 of a second. Seb in second. AJ in third. 5-second penalty. I don't think is going to be enough, to be honest, because Trippy Jeff is fourth, 5.5 seconds behind, and AJ maintains that podium. Trippy Jeff fourth, Spadema in fifth, Gary sixth, Way in seventh, Nathan there's whole holds of changes up and down the field. Adamako, James Volakongan, and Tionas has glitched the board out on track. He's come across the line in the lead apparently, but he hasn't. Matt Tibos down there in 13th, Callboy 14th. I think Tionas, by the way, came across the line in 14th position is where he came across the line, because Callboy came across the line behind him, and so Tionas will be counted as 14th, Alonso across the line in 15th, and Powdy going for fastest lap attempt. What is the fastest lap currently out on track? Judging by the fastest lap, we've got a glitch time of a 20.4, but the fastest lap currently is a 27.4 by TRT James. This is up for grabs now for Powdy. Running around the final corner, 27.4 to beat. Powdy now to the line. Is he going to beat his time? Ooh, that's close.
27.4.
It's a 27.4. I don't know what terms. It's going to come down to the 100th of a second. So we'll check that out for you as Nathan takes the fan voted driver of the day. Oh my God, what a battle. A season opener. If we have more races like this, then Division 2 is going to live up to all expectations once again. But it is that man, not Tionas, on the top step of the podium, who has glitched everyone. It is, of course, that man in second position, as you see on your screen. Mashiro taking the win from Seb in second, and AJ finishing in third. Mike, let's add them to the chat. Let's get them in.
Okay.
Oh, what a race. Tionas, by the way, does not win. You'll see it on the board. He will not win with that 20.4 lap time that he has set. It's more of a second set split rather than anything else. There we are. Tionas does not take the win. Top three remain as they are. So Mashiro wins, Seb second, AJ in third. Trippy Jeff from 10th on the grid up to 4th. Very good result there, with Zuidema in 5th, Gary in 6th, Wayne in 7th, Nathan 8th, Adamako 9th, and James in P10. Volokongan, Matt Tibos, so unfortunate with that early collision. Callboy, Alonso, Powdy, they all get top 15. Add into that Tionas, who finished in 14th. So it's Alonso 15th, Powdy 16th, Ryan and F1 AMG, the two DNFers out on track. So unfortunate, but hopefully we will get our top 3 into the party for interviews, and that'll be, of course, Mashiro, Seb, and AJ, not Tionas, who has sneaked his way to the lead, glitched his way into the lead of the race. But while Mike is doing that, let me force you to follow us on Twitter at TTML_F1. You can also follow the League Racing TV channel on Twitter. That is at League Racing TV. Why wouldn't it be at League Racing TV? And of course, you can follow us, of course, on Twitter, myself and Mike. It is at B52Head, that is Bravo 52 Head for me on Twitter, and for Mike on Twitter, it is at Ivorbrin Mike. I was going to put the ASW in front of your name there, so it's a good job you came in and corrected what I was going to say there. But from Bahrain, we go to a track of the Chinese Grand Prix, and that's Shanghai, another overtaking opportunity track. We're going to see, I think, a really good race there.
Yep, China is one of those tracks that can also throw up some mixed conditions as well, so that should be exciting to look forward to.
Oh, it's going to be very fascinating, I think, out on track. We wait. Have you added the group? Added the 3 guys into the group?
I literally have to type it out. I don't have any of them as friends.
That's a shame. We're just going to have to wait then. But all of this wouldn't be possible, I think, without Tom. At TTG_honeybadger, of course, on Twitter. Without him, he wouldn't be providing you with the lovely graphics. He wouldn't be providing you with the replay cams. Give him a massive round of applause to everyone out on track. Of everyone viewing, give him a round of applause, because he is honestly the most professional person you will see in terms of the graphics out on track. We are unrivaled, I think, in terms of the amount of graphic coverage that we have. We, of course, run it from the traditional F1 graphics, but what an enthralling race that was. Matt Tibble says it was an enthralling race. Sadly not for him, and we'll try and catch up on his thoughts later on, probably for next week. Ryan saying, well, that was fun while it lasted as well. He was running a very good position. I think he was running at P4 at one stage, looking very good indeed. But hopefully we're going to see everyone now filter through for the interviews, and I believe they've all been added.
Yep, I've added all of them now. It's a shame that the new PlayStation update means that I have to actually type the names out.
Oh, I know. Honestly, we just have to get around it. We just have to work with this new PS4 system. Of course, if you are unfamiliar with the party system on PS4, you probably all are by now, but if you haven't got a PS4, they've changed the party system to something that worked to something that is now a little bit flawed, but it is in turn going to be more towards aimed at the PS5 rather than the PS4. So that is why they've added the update, so make sure it works on one platform and then they transfer it to another, which of course will be the PS5, and that might be where you will get to see the next season, of course, of TTML once this one's done after Christmas. But we should get in, hopefully, the top 3 drivers out on track. And we'll give them a couple of minutes. We'll give them until about 25 past. And we'll see if anybody is willing enough to join. But, Mike, we'll focus on next week, of course, in China, where it is the second round of the season. Mashiro takes a good championship lead going into that. Is he going to continue that form from here in Bahrain?
Well, China, a very different challenge to Bahrain. The sweeping corners in the second sector, and of course we've got the snail corners as well at turn 1 and at the start of the final sector. That very long straight, I still think it is technically classed as the longest, isn't it?
It is technically the longest straight. I think the only one that rivals it in terms of the longest straight will be Azerbaijan, I think. That big, long kilometre straight, basically, down towards
maybe
turn
Mexico
1.
as well.
Yeah, Mexico as well. There's quite a few long straights now. Of course, Portimao this weekend in real life. That's got a long straight. I love commentating around there on Project Cars 2 normally. Gary, by the way, a little bit of thoughts from Gary, atting me cheekily within the Division 2 Discord. Sorry I didn't bottle on you, is what he said. Terrible. I have no words. I have no words. Yeah, Gary didn't bottle it for once. Let's just give Gary a round of applause for not bottling out on the track. Absolutely brilliant stuff, and he was well up there, of course, in the vanguard throughout that race. Hopefully we are going to see somebody join. I'm just going to briefly go blue screen. Yeah, just to confirm everyone has been added, so we are just waiting on the interviews. But if we don't have any interviews, we'll try and catch them up with the top 3 and give you guys something to look at before the next week's race, of course, in China. And I'm sure Tom will be looking forward to China as well. It'll be his second race, of course, in Season 2, doing all the graphics. And once again, you can follow the league on Twitter at TTML_F1, at League Racing TV. at B52Head and at Ivor Bryn Mike and at TTG Honey Badger. Those are the 5 that you have to follow tonight. And of course, if you've loved the action here in Division 2, do like, comment and subscribe. Tick that notification bell, of course, if you are new to the channel. And why wouldn't you tune in for next week in China? I'm not sure if we're going to get anyone to join.
I don't think we will either. But interestingly, I know we mentioned it earlier about Bahrain being one of the longest tracks in the calendar, but China's actually just a little bit longer.
China's a little bit longer. So
5.451 at China.
I'll correct myself what I said earlier on. Bahrain is not the 3rd longest track on the calendar. I think now China has taken that crown for thingy. I'll probably keep on saying that. That'll be a concerning theme running through the season, I think, in terms of everyone with the length of the track. Check it. I'm going to get my F1 official history book out and I'll tell you in time, hopefully, for next week. But it has been an absolute pleasure to have Mike Edwards alongside me in the commentary box. It's been a pleasure as well for Tom doing all the graphics as well. And on a personal note, I'm absolutely thrilled that you have enjoyed us in TTML_F1. We are always pushing the boundaries in terms of the action out on track, in terms of the off-track action as well. In terms of the commentary team, there is not a better commentary team out there. And these guys will keep you entertained. All of us will keep you entertained here at TTML, regardless if we go into a second national lockdown or not over the next few weeks and on the run-up to Christmas. And Mike, final thoughts from you. Bahrain turned out to be an absolute epic. China, thinking more of the same?
Oh, we've just been joined by Scooter.
It was taking forever to join. I don't know what was going on.
Well, Scuderia Seb then is in the party with us, and we can get an interview from the man racing in P2. And why didn't you win that one? Because you and Mashiro had an utterly brilliant battle throughout that race.
Yeah, it was good. It was intense. I'm just really disappointed, to be honest, because I thought I could have him on the last lap, but I was really struggling with understeer in the end. I had like 70% wear on my front left, so yeah, I was struggling to the end, but yeah, it was a good race, but just disappointed to finish second.
Yeah, you'll probably hear it back in commentary from me as well. I think I said that you should have conserved the ERS a little bit more. Was that a worrying factor as well, going into the final lap?
Yeah, I knew I got a bit eager with it. Probably should have saved a bit more, but that's hindsight at the end of the day. So yeah, it's just how it is.
It is how it is, but I mean, P2, on your debut in Division 2, you must be pleased with that, surely?
Yeah, I'm pleased with, obviously it's my debut, so I'm happy with the result, but, you know, I always want the win, you know what I mean, but, no, P2's okay, I guess. I'm happy.
P2 is okay, you should be happy. You're second in the championship going into China, so you should be happy with that.
Oh no, not China.
Oh yeah, it is China next time.
I hate China, but yeah, no, it's a good result. Just got to stay consistent at the end of the day. So we'll see what happens in the coming races.
Yeah, we saw with M Short last season, consistency is the key. Mike, do you have any questions for Seb?
I was just going to say, how does he feel about going to China, but I think he already answered it. But just a fantastic race, but congratulations on the podium, brilliant drive, and hope to see you up there battling in China.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about joining late, I don't know what was going on, so.
It's totally fine. You can turn up next week, be on time, and hopefully win in China. And that'll be the best present possible. But I'll let you go and enjoy your night, Seb. Thank you so much for hopping into the commentary box, and hopefully this is the first of many interviews.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Have a good one.
See ya.
See ya.
And that was the well-spoken man of Scuderia Seb 27. Never heard him in the flesh before. That's an exclusive here in Division 2. And from that interview, we really got the perspective of him wanting to do better, wanting to push the limits, which is good, but he's got to maintain that consistency.
Yeah, consistency is going to be key as we move forward in this season. But what an opening round. Couldn't have started any better.
It couldn't have started any better, and if you are wanting more, Division 4 and Division 5 are live for you tomorrow night here on League Racing TV. Myself and Dan Hoggard will be taking you through on Division 5. That will be at 8 o'clock. That'll be the one without the graphics, and Tom will be delivering you, I think, the graphics tomorrow night, with Graham Chappell and Callboy taking you through Division 4. And unfortunately for Ireland, they have also gone into lockdown for 6 weeks, right on the run up towards Christmas. We think of everyone there in Ireland, and I'm sure Callboy and Graham Chappell will give you the best commentary possible in what is a very difficult scenario over there in the Republic of Ireland. But we better get off the air before we get kicked off the air, I think. Let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching TTML Division 2. Please stay safe out there. Remember to take your face mask. Remember to take your hand sanitizer when you're out with you. We will be back next week in China. I will be back tomorrow night in Bahrain with Daniel Hoggard, who'll be joining me in the commentary box for Division 5. But for now, I've been James Head. He's been Michael Edwards. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.